Hey, how you doing? Welcome to Maximize Your Career Potential. My name's DJ Sobanjo and I'm your host on this program. Today, what I'm going to be sharing with you is actually just following a response that a request that I had from a few of the subscribers to this program. And people have said, well, DJ, we're going through some really difficult times right now. Economically, things are really difficult. And I appreciate the fact that globally we're going through really difficult times. There's a recession of different parts of the world, and people are really just asking themselves all sorts of different questions. What can I do and to manage and support myself through these difficult times? So especially in the marketplace where jobs seem to be shrinking very, very quickly and opportunities do not abound like they used to just a few years ago. So I thought, okay, I'll just share a few things you can do that probably could help you now in these present times. And I've identified 4 things, and this is not an exhaustive list. These are just 4 things that you can do to help you through these difficult times. The first one is a very practical thing, and that's what I call pruning. It really is just sitting down, and I think everybody needs to do this every now and again. My wife and I actually take time every quarter. So every 3 months we get together and we carry out a pruning exercise. So what is a pruning exercise? Well, what you do is you just sit down and you review your expenditure. You just review what you spend money on. And then check to see if there's any way you can reduce how much you spend in certain areas, and in certain areas if you actually just cut them out. So, for example, there was a time when I actually needed to have 2 personal mobile phones at the time. Because at that point in time I just needed one phone for personal things and another phone for business. But then what I identified was I really wasn't making that many calls, and I wasn't getting so many personal calls anyway. So as part of our pruning exercise, we sat down and we reviewed this, and I felt, you know what, I'm just going to just get rid of one of these phones, which I did. And by doing that, it enabled me to actually reduce my outgoing expenditure. So what you do is sit down, have a look at everything you're spending money on. Ask yourself, do I need this? And if you do need it, the next question is, do I need this much of it? And if you don't, then you can just maybe either cut it out completely or reduce how much you're spending in that particular area. And it's basically reviewing things based on what your objectives are, where you're looking to get to, and also reviewing things based on, your financial situation, your income, your expenditure, and also what your plans are, what's going on. So by regularly pruning, what you do is you're plugging the gap and making sure that money, because if you don't do this regularly, what's going to happen is certain things will just be bleeding you dry and just sucking out your money, and you won't have enough money to save or to invest. And in times like this, it's always good to spend as little as possible. I'm not saying you become this real horrible meanie who doesn't spend money at all, but you just want to make sure you're spending as little as possible so that you can maximize your income. So that's the first thing you want to do is to consider pruning and cutting out expenditure that you really shouldn't be engaging in. The second thing is actually updating your CV. A lot of people, especially if they've been in a job for a very long time, do not consistently update their CVs. Now is a good time for you to go back and look at your CV or your resume, depending on what part of the world you live. Look at your CV and update it. Look at some of the skills, some of the experience that you've gained within the last period, between the last time you've updated it and now. And make sure that those new skills, those new achievements, and the experience you've gained are actually captured on your CV. Another thing that I probably should say at this point is I've had the privilege to train recruiters as well as people who are aspiring to get new jobs. So I've spent time training recruiters, I also spent time training recruitees. And one thing I have identified is most people's CVs are very poorly put together. For some people, it's just because they're lazy. For some people, it's just because they don't know how to create a very attractive CV that gets heads turning and that gets you interviews. See, your CV is a sales document. Before a recruiter sees you, the first thing they're going to see is your CV. And right now, there's about 200 people chasing every job. So if there are 200 CVs that a potential recruiter is going to be looking through, and yours is one of them, you really want to hope that your CV stands out. Now, I know lots of people who are very competent, who are very highly skilled, and who would make really good team members or good employees, but because they don't put their CVs together properly, because their CVs are not attractive, they don't stand out from the pack, they never get invited for interviews, and they get very frustrated, and they wonder why people who are not as competent as they are get interviews and they get jobs. And it usually is because, well, their CVs just don't cut it. So I'll encourage you to look at your CV and ask yourself, if I was a recruiter, if I looked at this, would this stand out from the crowd, or does this look like every CV, most CVs that I come across? And if that's the case, then look at what you can do about it. Look out, because very soon I will be doing a webinar where I'll be sharing some hints, some tips on what you can do to tweak your CV. And so make sure that obviously if you're a subscriber, you will get the information so you can participate in that. So what you want to do is you definitely want to update your CV and to tweak it to make sure it's attractive to potential employers. So that's the second thing that you might want to look at doing. The third thing is, you see, for a lot of us, especially in times like this, it creates an opportunity for us to look at other skills we may have developed that actually may have some value in the marketplace, which we can deploy. So sit down and make a long list of every skill that you have developed over the last few years, and then just go and test them in the marketplace. Go to a few employment agents and employment agencies and just check to see how you can sell these skills in the marketplace, and just test them and see what the sorts of responses that you get. Because whenever there is a change in the economy, what happens is there's certain doors shut and then new doors open. And there might be certain skills that you may have right now that the marketplace is either demanding or is being positioned for, which would create opportunities for you. And if you're not aware, if you don't open your eyes to these opportunities, you could actually miss them. So I encourage you to just review all the skills that you do have outside, and including the skills that you are actively using in your present role, and just explore the market and see what the possibilities are, because you might be able to position yourself to take advantage of these opportunities. And the fourth thing that I'll encourage you to consider doing is actually consider starting a business by the side. And if you're thinking, well, what sort of business can I start? Something you might want to consider is a direct sales business. The beauty of sales, and I know as soon as some people hear sales, they switch off, and I understand that. But the beauty of sales is, number one, sales is a job that it would always be, and there'd always be opportunities for. Even if a particular product is no longer in demand, there will be other products that are in demand, or other services that are in demand, and they need to be sold. So, jokingly, we say salespeople just can't be unemployed. You can't be unemployed if you can sell, because there's always something to sell, and so. The income potential in direct sales is very good. You can do it part-time around your job, your family, and other commitments. It doesn't have to place pressure on these things that you're doing. And in addition to that, the skills that you develop working in direct sales, especially the tactical skills, the people skills, and the mental fortitude that you actually develop in direct sales will help you beyond your sales in your career in direct sales. I had a privilege of working for quite a number of years in direct sales, and yes, it was financially lucrative. But even beyond that, a lot of the skills that I use in what I do today, a lot of the things that have helped me to be productive in other areas are skills that I actually developed working in and building a direct sales organization. So that's something which you might want to consider. And if direct sales probably isn't for you, then look for other businesses that you can start part-time that would not take pressure away from all the other things that you're doing. And look for mentors, look for people you can learn from, and just start something. Especially if you've been thinking about doing a business for a while, but there have been so many reasons why you couldn't start. For a lot of people, it's money. I would say just go out there and just get started. And you might learn something. And the good thing is you might make some money too. So those are 4 things that you can actually look at doing now. You can actually look at doing these things now just to position yourself strategically, especially in these very difficult times. And who knows, the doors that could be open for you. I hope this has been very good. I hope it's been useful for you. Don't forget to leave your comments. Don't forget to leave your feedback. And don't forget to share this with your friends and your contacts across the globe. Look forward to seeing you soon. God bless. Bye for now.